Good morning. Thank you everybody for being here. I'd like to call this bond rate and millage rate hearing to order this morning. And we're going to have a word of prayer and then we'll do the pledge. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this day. God, I thank you for these people here willing to serve. God, I ask that your hand would be upon us today and you help us to make good decisions and give us wisdom to make good decisions for this school. God, I pray right now for Appalachia School this morning. God, as they are dealing with devastating loss. God, the loss of 2 teachers and 2 students. And God, I just pray right now that you would comfort that school. And at the same time, God, I pray you would protect our school. You would protect our administration. You would protect our students. Keep your hand upon us. God, we thank you for this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, all right, good morning to each and every one of you. We'll go ahead and begin our meeting. The first attachment we have is the tax digest. I think most of you have seen this. We had to post it in the paper by law. So what you're seeing, if we just look at the real and personal property over the last 5 years, you will see that it has increased significantly in this county, which is a good thing. That we're business is booming and things are going well for our county. And if you look down further, you'll see the adjusted net M&O digest value that from last year to this year, we've gained almost $50,000, a little over $54,000 since the last year. So last year our millage rate was 15.079, and this year, the way the law is written, we have to show that if we don't roll back. So I read and heard a lot of comments that it looks like we're estimating our M&O millage rate to be 16.56. That's not the case. That's the way we had to write it for the tax increase notice in the paper. And so by law, we have to do that. So as you sit here, you'll understand more about what we propose versus what we have to post in the paper per law. So right now, this is our tax digest. If you have any questions, if you need to speak, we'll answer those. But I really want to just share with you the increases over the last 5 years with our tax digest. Next. All right. So this is how the Board of Revenue and Kenny Adair's office calculates our tax millage rate. And what you're looking at, again, what we just saw in the 2023 digest, you saw those numbers on the other page. If you look at the second column, reassessment of existing real property, that shows what we've increased with natural inflation. This means the homeowner didn't do anything. Your property went up, it just valued more. The column next to it are things that we changed, or things that the homeowner changed. And you see that was a $12.5 million growth. In addition to the $41.5 million in inflation, that gave us the $54 million in increased valuation from last year. So this year's digest again is $421,172,890. So the calculation then is in the middle, and this is how the Kenny Adair's office calculates it. So based upon those numbers, how much would the digest, how much would we earn in the digest if we roll back? And we would still gain 132,000. I have that number.
132,000.
132,000 if we roll back to 13.591. Okay, 13.591 would put us below the 14 threshold to receive equalization. Equalization is monies the state gives us to equalize the revenue among schools in the state of Georgia. So the county next to us could have valuation higher than ours as a neighboring county. So this money kind of levels the playing field. And so we really need those funds. Last year, we received about $575,000 from the equalization grant. So if we go below 14, we will not receive those funds. So automatically, that's a hit for Lincoln County if we don't receive those funds. So going below 14, we will lose that money automatically because the law states you have to be above 14 mills. There was a proposal in the legislative this session to lower the millage rate for equalization from 14 to 10. That did not make it through the Senate and the House, and the governor was not able to sign that. So we must be above 14 if we want to get that $575,000. Okay? That means, again, I'm going to say it again, we would lose that money if we go below 14 mills. All right? So right now our millage rate is 15.079, and we decided that we were not going to go back to the rollback rate. I'm recommending that we don't go to the rollback rate of the 13.591 to make sure that we are above the 14 mil threshold. Next. So a lot of questions have been asked about what are our neighboring counties' millage rate. And I've heard some things about our neighboring county to the north. Their millage rate is 17. So I think they're lowering theirs just a little bit, but again, they're 2 mills above us. 2 full mills. So if you look, Lincoln County, we're right there in the middle of our millage rate at 15.079. So it's not like, we have high millage rates as our neighboring counties.
Can I just make a couple of,
Yes.
just a couple things. One thing on that other slide, that $12.8 million, go up right there just to clarify, that $12.8 million is new homes and renovations in the county.
Yes.
In the past year is what that 12.8 is. And then also as far as the equalization, in 2023, we received $1,049,000 from equalization. 24, we received nothing. In 25, we received $575,000. So that's a lot of money that we run the risk of not getting if we drop below the 14 mil.
So what was the reason why we didn't get the equalization?
I don't know that we ever found out.
So it's just that it's those calculations, and again with equalization, you don't find out till all the tax digests are in, and then the state does the computations. So again, it factors other counties and how they're doing, and right now we won't know how other counties are doing until the end.
So I think we did not raise the millage rate for 8 years.
That's correct.
That's correct.
And what happened was we got further and further out of that parameter where you receive the equalization, and then finally it hit us.
Yes, sir.
And what we're trying to do is correct that now. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. With the least amount of burden on the taxpayer.
A little by
That's
little,
correct.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
That's
correct.
right.
Excuse me. It's my first meeting here, so I want to know when I can ask questions or make comments.
After I finish the presentation, I'll have about 2 more slides, and you can ask your questions. Okay? Yes, sir. All right, this is just a table of the value of your home and how much you would pay in taxes. So if you look at the millage rate column, that is the millage rate for this year at 15.079. And I guess you can look at the value of your home, and this is how much your tax bill will probably be, okay? And then I add another column, just how much monthly would I need to save to make that yearly tax. If you scroll down, this is with a $500,000 increase of that same value home with the same 2,000 exemption of how much you can estimate to pay. So for those in the audience, you can look at the value of your home and see the difference from last year and this year of how much that would cost you as a taxpayer. What we've done in the past, we've kind of put all this on one sheet, but this one I just spread out over 2 sheets so that you can just see the difference instead of actually doing the subtraction of it. Okay, next. All right, a lot of you haven't seen this, but this is the QBE report that we get, and this shows how many teachers we earn, how many administrators we earn per those direct instructional costs. So this is how the state gives us money. And at the bottom, you will see that the state gives us $9,933,617 in QBE. That is not all the state money we get. We do receive some state grants through special ed and pre-K, but that is what is sent to us. And you can see that 575, 752 is equalization, so that was factored in. So if we don't get equalization, then we'll be subtracting that from the amount of money we get from the state. So again, which is why we have to be above 14 mills to even qualify for that 575,000. Now, we're not guaranteed the same amount because the equalization, remember, is based on other counties. So the state has a formula when they calculate this, and they rank all districts from 1 to 180. And last year we fell 67. And the top 53 rich, wealthiest counties didn't receive any money. So from 1 to 53, they received $0. And then 54 through 180, they received some funding. So we're not guaranteed 575. We don't know until the end when they do all the calculations for every district in the state of Georgia. It could be more, it could be less.
It could be 0.
Could be 0.
But if we fall below the 14 mills,
It's
we're
automatic.
guaranteed.
We're guaranteed
it's
0.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. So, but this is the sheet that if you would like a copy of, we'll give it to you. But this just tells how the state gives us the money and who it's for. And if you go over every school system receive monies for a superintendent and 2 assistant superintendents. So I've heard questions about why is there 2? We're a small district. The state sends money for 2 and a superintendent. And we earn all 3 principals. So those questions we have answers to. We have the answers for the amounts of how much they send us. So we want you to know that we are spending the taxpayers' money wisely. It's from the federal, state, and local dollars that we receive. Last slide. So part of that allotment sheet, this is just a breakdown of all the monies that are received. And again, I wanted you to see this because sometimes people don't understand how the money is allocated. And you're welcome to a copy of this. It's a 4-page document. It shows where every single dollar of that $9 million is allocated in every program from kindergarten all the way up to high school. Okay, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any questions from the board before we open it up to the floor? Okay. We'll entertain any questions. Sir?
Okay. So far, I don't understand what you want to raise taxes for, other than to meet some millage rate so the state gives you more money. Do you need the money? I mean, why are you going after money if you don't need it? You're saying that they're going to pay for extra superintendents and stuff like this, so let's just hire them because they're going to pay for increase in millage rate. You don't need it. You're just burdening taxpayers.
We're operating in the red as we speak. So we do have some money, in reserve funds to try to help with some of that, but we are operating in the red as far as our balance, the balance of what we have.
And to piggyback off that, I don't know if you heard me, we're not raising our millage rate. Our proposal is to lower the millage rate. So because we're lowering it and the tax reassessment went up, there's a tax increase. We have to report it as a tax increase, but this board is lowering the millage rate from last year.
Okay.
So-
And it still has a increase in taxes for the people.
So
And if you were decreasing the millage rate, but not to the point to where maybe you need to, like I said, you're talking about spending money that you've not explained why you have to spend the money, aside from the fact that if you don't spend the money, you're not getting state funds.
So
You don't spend money on stuff you don't need. Seriously, not in this day and age and not right now, but it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing.
no, so 85 to 90% of our budget, entire budget, is people. And I've given this board every single teacher. I've given them the class sizes. So it's not like we have a lot of extra people. We don't. We're paying for the number of people that's needed to educate the kids. In that, we do have monies for equipment and software. And a lot of things that's going on in today's society, we have to purchase. Example, yesterday what happened. Again, I would hope that our taxpayers would know that we may need to look at spending more money on safety. And again, we have federal grants that help us, but again, our teachers have to make sure not only they teach kids, but that kids are safe. But I can assure you, we look at every month the allocations of teachers to students. So we're not saying we just have this money just splurging. We're actually spending this money on personnel.
But again, I suppose it's personnel you think you need. There's others that would disagree with you. I'm one of those that would disagree with you. I think there's areas where you could save. I think there's areas where you could make an adjustment. As an example, you know, I'm all for the academics. Teach the kids the basics. I don't know whether they teach cursive here. I know other schools don't. I think that's wrong. But teach them the basics. That's what they need. Sports programs, it's a nice luxury, and I know the state fund part of it says that you can spend part of your money on it, but when it comes down to nickel and dime, and it comes down to an economy like what we have now, sports is not important. It just simply isn't. It's not required that every student go into a sporting event and do something. No, you are asking taxpayers to cough up money to turn around to pay for sporting events and sporting things that only a certain group of students are going to have access to. Yeah, there's no gain in sports, not under these conditions. You're not teaching them anything they couldn't learn under academic sports, perhaps like a chess club or something that's intellectually motivating. I have problems with giving in more money when I see certain areas that I think are wasteful and could be cut down. The kids, a lot of other areas, I've lived in like 10 other states, so I've seen a lot of different things. No reason the kids can't go out. Let's see the car washes, let's see whatever. If they want to play sports, don't throw it to every person out there when not every student has to play sports or is gonna play sports. If the parents want the kids to play sports, guess what? Carry a little more of the burden. But increasing stuff and throwing money around, it just, I'd love to see the entire budget, honestly, and dissect it.
I can tell you straightforward from a Board of Education perspective, we do not pay for sports, we pay for facilities. We pay for grass and buildings and maintenance. We do not pay for any sports.
Does that include the sports, you know, your football fields and all that maintenance and things like that?
Correct, we cut the
Yep.
grass at the football field.
There you go. So you're still spending money on it.
But it's not for the sport. The sport is paid for through ticket sales.
And the
It
Booster
is for
Club.
the sport.
Booster
Or get
Club.
rid of that field and just have them play in the grass.
We still
I
have
mean,
to
come on,
maintain-
get rid of the stands, get rid of all the excess stuff.
We would still have to maintain the land that we own.
You wouldn't need that land then, now would you?
So can I ask a
Go ahead.
question, Mr. Superintendent? So that estimated tax bill that I received probably 2 months ago in the mail, what it says that I owe for my taxes is gonna be less if we vote the way we are intending, you recommended.
Yes,
So when we go to the tax office, our bill is, we're paying less as well on that piece of paper, is that correct?
That's correct.
It's gonna
Okay.
decrease, that's
Okay,
correct.
I just wanna make sure. Okay.
Yeah. So you, bottom line is you won't see a tax increase as far as that. What you received in July, the bill you received for December for your taxes will be less than what you actually received in July because of the rollback.
So in the paper, it kind of is misleading where it says you're increasing taxes by 10%. And that's how the state mandates that you say that.
Printed in the paper.
Okay, that's real smart, in my
Posted.
opinion.
That's correct.
Bottom line, is there an increase between what I'm paying in taxes last year to this year?
Yes, sir, there should be an increase in that.
That's all that matters.
But a lot of that is the value, the assessment value.
And who assesses the value on property?
And that would
I'm
be
curious about.
that would be Mr. Kenny Adair's office.
Tax assessor's
Yeah,
office.
Tax assessor's office. Yep.
So it's in, the assessment office just decides what the property's worth because,
And you have every right to go over to them and appeal that.
It's based on sales.
That's
They
right.
don't just come up with a number, it's based on what has been sold.
sure.
And he has a 300-page manual. I met with him that he must go through and do the assessment. It's pretty straightforward. And it's not him wanting to do it, it's him following the code and following the rules.
Yeah, and I understand that. And again, don't get me wrong, I know I'm coming off a little bit, however you wanna say it. I'm paying for taxes, I think it's great we have sports, I think it's great we have the school, I think, but in this day and age, with what's going on with the economy, it's stretching people. You're pushing to a limit where it could backfire on you, basically. You're only gonna push so far before all of a sudden people just say, sorry, I got no more money to give you. And the hardships come down, and then what, you have to create other social programs to support the people that now have been forced into those situations? I'm not sure anybody's looking at the balance here.
Let me say this, all of our groceries have gone up at home. Everything has gone up. Gas has gone up. But look, that hits the school too. We have to buy fuel. We have to buy groceries. I mean, it's not like the school stays where it's at or goes down.
No, I agree with you. But again, when there's programs out there, when things like this happen, you cut where you can. I'm not one word, written or said, in the time I've been around, of cutting any program, anything that could be not academic, because that's what schools are designed for, that would offset it. But at home, with all these increases, the electric power increasing at 3 times and whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I can't just go out there and tell whoever I get my money from, sorry, you gotta give me more money because my cost increased. It doesn't work that way.
So
Not any place.
I do disagree, because this board last year or the year before had an opportunity to cut a program that was going well here. And so we have cut programs. So I want you to know, these people up here, they see the budget. We talk about cutting every budget. Maybe I didn't clearly communicate that to you. In my leadership meetings, we talk about if things are not working, we are gonna cut it. If the kids are not using programs, we will cut it. So
Yeah.
that's something we talk about on an ongoing basis. And this board is well aware of the cuts, and we continue to make cuts.
Mhm.
Even the light bills, the phone bills, the water bills, we're looking at everything. Those who we rent our facility to, if the rents are not high enough, we increase the rent to make sure that we can hold our own and that we're not paying extra money for another organization.
What, can I ask what program was cut last year?
It was 2 years ago, I think, the food and nutrition program. We cut out the entire program, the teacher and the supplies that would have been, and equipment for that program.
So let me get this right. You're gonna cut the food and equipment programs, which we're not like in a rich county here, from what I can tell. But yet, you're gonna maintain a sports team with sports buses, with all the stuff you're doing? Yeah, I'm not, there's no justification. There just simply isn't.
Well, as long as I'm here, I really believe in the holistic child. I believe in children having the ability to excel in academics, having the opportunity to be on sports teams and clubs. So I don't want to lose that in the midst of all of this. I want us to, when students graduate, that kids have become good citizens and they're well-rounded. And that's what we do here. And I get the attack on the sports, but honestly, we look at sports as well. The coaches are looking, how can they cut back? So I really want you to know that that's what we do. We make sure that if cuts can be made, we'll make the cuts. But just like Mr. Madison said, things cost as for the district, and we have to pay for those costs.
And again, we're gonna have to disagree on this, because you sat right there and said you cut food programs.
Well, the teacher
The
left us.
class.
The teacher left, and so we did not fill that position
Okay.
in order to save money. My apologies.
We didn't cut the
That's
food
still
out.
home
They still eat.
economics, as far as I'm concerned, that's far more important than a sport. And I'm not against sports, I'm simply saying that the school's designed as an academic room. The sports is just an add-on, and it's good, I'm not disagreeing with it. However, when push comes to shove, trust me, that would be the first area I would look at, saying, what are we gonna do here? Because this is not absolutely mandatory for existence in our world, that they know how to catch a ball and go play with balls.
So for a child,
Just can't see it.
that their family might not be able to send them to college, and they excel at sports to a level that they can make it to the pro leagues, and they have the opportunity to go to college and play free on scholarship, so you don't believe in that?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, we differ in opinion too then.
We make our way in this world.
That's how he makes his way.
There's no child, no person that I think is beyond being educated to a proper degree, to doing something that is, look, what does sports give to society? Nothing.
Discipline,
Education.
your education.
Education and discipline are in the.
I played for 4 years and never stepped foot on the field, but I got something out of it I use every day right now, so we just disagree on that.
Well, I'll tell you what,
And-
military bases all over the place, they're gonna give you all the
We,
discipline.
that's
you want.
exactly right.
You
Yep.
don't need to play sports to get there.
Not if kids
Well-
don't go military.
And I don't see a JRTC program up in here or any of that. So you're just,
But keep in mind, 85% of what we spend is teacher's salary that's mandated by the state. We don't have anything to do with that.
on their pay scale?
Yes,
Yeah,
85%.
yeah. And again, I don't disagree with that. Teachers deserve pay and sometimes a whole lot more than what they're getting. And like I said, I don't disagree with sports, but in this economy, when you start cutting stuff, it's everything you're telling me, you're cutting the wrong stuff as far as I'm concerned, which means I don't sit well with paying additional taxes for stuff that I don't deem or see is truly
So,
academic.
so did you hear the
necessary.
superintendent when I think the chairman said that when he said we're operating in red, you understand that when we put our budget together, we were $370,000 in the red?
Okay.
Do you
so then
understand
go
that?
back.
So you think that by cutting $370,000, we hadn't looked at it? All of us are taxpayers here as well. Do you think we want to raise the taxes? So we are doing everything other than you running for one of these spots on here. There's nothing else we know to do. We got to put our trust in the teachers, superintendent, and let them do their job. Give them the tools to do their job. We take this seriously. I do. I think the other board members do as well.
We all pay
So-
taxes.
Yeah.
Ours are going up too. I mean, we
A
don't
lot.
want them to go up.
That's,
But I am proud that their value is going up. There's a reason why values are going up here. Because people want to move to Lincoln County. Guess why they want to move to Lincoln County? Because of the school system and the lake. School system probably number one. If you go look.
and again.
So your value of your home, your property, you can thank the school system for that.
And again.
And I think you'd be
I'm not
surprised
saying
if
anything
you,
about that.
if you looked into how much money sports brings into the school system. I think you'd be shocked. So, but anyway, we've got to move on to further questions. I appreciate you being here and I appreciate your questions. So, next question in the back. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm here as a newly retired, living on Social Security. I was here last year when you went up 18.88%, asking you, please don't go up any higher. And here we are again. The digest, yes, has improved. In comparing us to other counties, I don't know what their digests are doing. Columbia County, I'm sure, is booming. So it's really apples and oranges. We don't know what Wells County Digest is doing. We don't know what Crawfordville is doing. So comparing us to them without knowing what their digest is doing is really not fair. As you stated, grocery prices have gone up. My prescription drug plan tripled in cost in a year. And you're still wanting, I understand you need to get to the 14, don't have a problem with that. If you can get more money by leaving us at 14, even at 14.1, 14 point, whatever it takes, but to not roll back after an 18% increase last year and hitting us up with another 14, maybe, 10, maybe, whatever it's 7, maybe, it's 25%. I mean, you can only go to a well that's not getting any more money. People on fixed income, that's $7 a month you're talking about, oh, it's only gonna be $7. For someone living on Social Security, I managed to save a little bit. My intention isn't to give it to you or to a hospital. It's there for emergencies. Some people don't have that cushion. What they get for Social Security, yeah, they get an increase. Guess what? Their Medicare, their their Advantage plan, whatever other plans they have, they all went up. They ate that increase and then some. If you need the money, if you need to stay at the 14, stay at the 14. A couple of years ago, you were at 13. I guess we didn't get any money that year. I don't know what you've got in your contingency fund to maybe just buy us some time until the economy rolls around and we can pay more. When things maybe start going down, who knows? Things can keep going up. But when you go to buy, I can't afford beef, $25 for a damn chuck roast. That's ridiculous. Who can pay that? And you want a little bit more. I know you're thoughtful. You all think about things. Last year you did. You didn't go up the full millage rate. You did cut it. It still went up 18%. That's a big chunk of change. I don't care who you are. I would just ask you to consider maybe rolling back more than to 14.79. Just give us a little bit of something. You're still going to collect the same money you got last year plus some. And you'll be eligible to get the money from the state. It's just, we just need a little bit of a break.
Yes, ma'am. I understand, and like I say, we didn't increase the millage rate for 8 years. 8 years, I was on the board 4 years ago, 5 years ago now, and we didn't increase it then. We didn't increase it the 4 years I was not here. And so, you know, at this point, we have increased last year 2 mills, and now we're proposing to roll back that half a mill to be able to help as much as we can, but we're trying to roll back to stay on a safe playing field as far as the money that we feel like we'll need because we are operating in the red.
Is there no way to take anything out of contingency?
We have some money in contingency, but with the money we have there, it's more or less a safety thing just in case.
And how much is it?
Million
Mr.
five or something.
1.5.
1.5 million, I think it is right now.
So our budget is already in the red, which means that if we spend what is budgeted, we're gonna have to take some out of there. That's why we're not taking the whole rollback. We don't wanna put ourselves in a bad position. So we're trying to find the middle of the road compromise, I think. I might be speaking for everybody else, but that's my thoughts.
And that's what I'm hoping for.
So the numbers you were mentioning about the 10 and the 18 and the 28, that's not correct though.
You mean the percent in increase in taxes?
Yes, ma'am.
It's on the,
I understand that, but that's not what we're
And
doing.
that's very misleading.
It's very
by what
misleading.
we're required to post. You will not see a tax increase as far as from the board. You know, you'll see a tax increase because property values have gone up. But we're proposing to roll back from the 2 mills to, you know, rolling back a half a mill. So the paper's very misleading when it comes to that.
It's not the paper's fault, that's how they're required to post
That's
it.
how it's
well, I know
required.
it's not, because this is
Yeah.
what you sent them to print.
That's right, that's right.
That's right. It's required, that's what the state
So what
requires
was
us.
the actual increase in spending? I know the digest caused my property values to go up, which means staying where we are, I'm gonna pay more than I did last year. Which means you're gonna collect more than I paid last year. You're gonna get a little bit more, which is why the state requires or asks that you roll back, as not to put an undue burden on the taxpayer. That's the whole purpose of the public hearings, is to get our input. It's hard for me to argue when I don't know if this is legitimate or not. If it's not 18% increase in revenue, then what was the actual increase in revenue? Because it says you collected an additional $879,000 last year. $750,000, that's not chump change.
So, Mr. Norman, that's when we raised the 2 mills, is that correct?
Correct.
Right.
And it looks like here you're gonna collect, if, just going by the paper, I know you're not gonna do that, another $815,000.
Right, but that's if we didn't roll back. That's at the 15.079. We're proposing a half mil increase, which would be 14.579. So that's what they're saying, that 14% is not in play. We are showing that if we kept everything the same, that would be a 14% increase. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to roll back a half a mil. Can you highlight that, Mr. Williams?
Yeah,
Go back.
That's what I was gonna look at that, what's that giving us?
The 14.73, that's not what we're proposing. That's if we left the millage rate at 15.079.
I'm still gonna pay more in taxes.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And
But this
you
board,
could say it's because the board isn't raising the millage rate.
we're not. We're
You're
rolling
gonna
back.
roll it back. But when it comes down to dollars and cents, you're gonna collect more money on that millage rate than you did last year. And I'm
Correct.
paying it.
Correct.
It's the bottom line. I'm still gonna pay it, regardless if it was a digest or you. It's still gonna come out of my wallet.
Yep, we all are.
And I agree. You all are.
If we
I'm
did
talking about
a,
people who don't have any opportunity at their age to make up the difference. They're gonna have to cut it in medicine, food.
You think we all just close the school down then, everybody homeschool?
I'm not here to argue about.
I'm just asking, is that what you think we ought to do?
This isn't about.
Everything goes up. Look at your groceries.
Yes, it does.
Look at
That's
your
my
gas.
point.
You need to be at the next level complaining, not to us.
if we did a full rollback, we would only receive $182,000.
Extra.
And lose the 575.
That's right.
That's what I
Also
said.
So which
lose the
means
five.
it's gonna
Roll
come back.
Below the 14.
Right,
If
so
you
if we
need
did
to
a-
stay at 14, I'm just asking, can you roll it back a little bit more?
If we did the 1 mil rollback, that would put us receiving $382,000. If we
Above
did,
what you got last year.
if we did a half a mil rollback, it would we'd receive them $586,000. And if we didn't do any rollback, it would be $790,000. So that's why we're proposing to, and all of this is based on us looking at last year's budget, how we came in under last year's budget. We actually came in the red from last year's budget as well. So we're trying to maintain that as well, starting into the new year. So the board felt like with a half a mil rollback, we needed to receive around $500,000 in order to maintain. And so that's where the half a mil rollback came from. Because if we did a full mil rollback, we'd only be getting $380,000. But if we did a half a mil, we'd get about $586,000. And we felt like that's what the money we needed to be on the safe side. So that's where the half a mil rollback's coming from. And that's all based on those dollars. It's based on the $586,000 that we feel like we need from those taxes in order to do what the school has to do. That's where that comes from. And yes, if we did a 1 mil rollback instead of a half, it would still keep us where we could get the equalization money, because I think it'd be 14.079 or something. We'd still be above 14 if we did a 1 mil rollback. But the half a mil rollback is what we felt like we needed to be able to maintain, because we are operating in the red. And we are having to draw into some of our reserve funds to maintain the school system. Everybody here that you see are taxpayers, and the last thing we do when we sit back there is want to raise your taxes. But the school has to operate, and the funds have to come from somewhere. Teachers' insurance has gone up. And the state does mandate money for a lot of those things, but it doesn't mandate all of the money. And so the money that's not mandated from the state, the school board has to figure out where to come from with it. And so we do cut things. We do cut light bills. We do cut everywhere we can cut. But then when it comes down to the final dollar, we felt like that rather than 300 and something thousand, we really needed 500 and something thousand to be able to maintain. And that's why we're doing that's why we're proposing a half a mil rollback. So I can assure you, we are trying everything in our power to hold this to a minimum. It didn't get raised for 8 years. We're trying everything in our power to hold it as low as possible. Any other questions? Anything else from the board? We don't have any. I need a motion to
And
adjourn.
Well, if there's any other reports you would like to see, just let me know, and we can get those reports up for you. We did not do a full financial today for you, that we go through the entire financials. We do that at every other board meeting, so anything you would request, just let me know after this meeting. We can make sure we have it for tonight at 6:30 and for our final meeting on the 12th.
But the bottom line is that what you received in July, showing how much your taxes would be, is not correct. with the county doing the rollback and us doing the rollback, it will be less than what you received in July. That is not correct. It will not be increasing the percentage like the paper is showing. No other questions? I have a motion by Mr. Hyton to adjourn, second by Mr. Madison. All in favor? Thank y'all very much for being here. Thank you for your input.